Hey guys, Dan from JP Coins and Collectibles. Email is sales@jpcoins.com if you want to request a video or make an offer on anything you see. Feel free. Just wanted to do a quick show and tell some stuff we had coming in the shop this week that were interesting. Just not an end. This is the last mintage of San Francisco and a little lucite holder. Those are always fun. Those are the last penny and dime that were minted in San Francisco. That weren't proofs. So those were business strikes. So it's pretty interesting. We had a 1914D. It's got a rotated die, probably about 10-15 degrees. Retail it books to 215. Obviously, nobody ever gets retail, so it'll go for probably a fair amount less than that. But still, interesting key date error. You can see it's off by just a little bit, but enough to be noticeable. So that was kind of neat. We had an MS Indian head cent. Let's see if I can light this up for you. You can see just how beautiful that one is. And that one's got the, I mean, it's lustrous. My hair's stuck in my finger. It's lustrous and shiny and just beautiful. It's got a little rim nick here and there, just tiny, tiny, tiny little rim nicks, but nothing serious. It does have some doubling though, so it is kind of interesting. I gotta look more into that. But neat coin. We also had an 1890 proof come in. It's all kinds of blue and purple. Really a neat coin. These ones, you know, it's interesting. I want to do a video on the difference between a proof and a business strike. But on these ones, a lot of the ways that you can tell for the Indian head cents, since they didn't do a different marking or anything on their proofs, the denticles are much, much sharper on the proof than they are on the MS strike. The MS strike, they're kind of rounded and blocky. If you were to run your finger across the proof ones, they're actually fairly sharp. Not sharp enough to hurt you, but sharp enough for you to notice. And then we had this beautiful 1878 Morgan deep mirror proof-like is what they like to call that. You know, when you get the back lit up and then it looks kind of like a proof. The 78S, I actually really like the 78Ss. They're not rare, but the thing that's really neat about them is how well they're struck. You gotta see. We're gonna do a how do you tell the difference between a well-struck and a not well-struck Morgan as well, but this one is really well struck. Normally where you're going to look is over the ear. You can see how defined that hair is. On a lot of them, even on some of the proof ones that are actual proofs, the hair over the ear will just be smooth. And this one is just beautifully struck, profoundly well struck. And this is actually a VAM error, of course, you know. I have a thing for errors, so I specialize in a lot of errors. I spend a lot of time at night in bed looking at coins. But this one has all kinds of neat errors. Take a look at this. The number 4 star, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's on the right, is chipped die. So the die was chipped, and it's actually missing that about a 7 o'clock leg. So that's interesting. And then on the other side, the motto, you'll see, "In God We Trust," but then you'll notice that the R is just missing half the R. It's kind of broken. And that's another chipped die area. And you can kind of see that when you look at it just zoomed in. And then there's all kinds of other little, it's kind of like a Where's Waldo kind of thing of errors. Let's see here. There was, in the Liberty headband, go back to the headband. Come on. Come on. There we go. Liberty. But look at the T. It's got a bit of a cud next to it, and it's actually fairly droopy. Yeah, if you look on the VAM list, you'll see all of these different things that are wrong with it. You know, not necessarily wrong, but interesting errors. They had a lot of problems. 1878 was the first year they made the Morgans, and obviously, you know, baby steps. You start out and you have problems, and you learn as you go. The chest of the Eagle, though, is really just beautiful. It almost looks like it has hair, you know, and you'll see a lot of them. Again, that's kind of an indication of a really nice strike, is if your Eagle's breast actually has hair on it, you know, or really well-defined feathers is what they actually are. That's a really well-struck one. And then, obviously, like we said, over the ear is the main part. The bottom curls, the curls are actually defined. That's another part. If you have Morgans, you can pull them out and look, and you'll see, usually down here, this will just look like one curl, rather than it being segmented into 7 pieces there. And this one as well, that wiggles. That one will almost always be messed up. But yeah, all kinds of little errors. I still got to kind of narrow down which VAM number it is. But interesting coin. Really interesting. Just beautiful. But yeah, there's just a few of the coins that came in this week. I just wanted to show you. Oh, there's actually, this was kind of sad. This is a damaged Flying Eagle. And talking about another well-struck coin, these were copper nickel. They had a really hard time striking the coin because it was a really hard alloy compared to the bronze, the copper bronze they used later. But you can just see it's got a perfect eyeball, its chest. I mean, none of the feathers are missing. It's really a nice coin. The only problem is it's got some bashed up junk in the corner there. It's been hit a couple times and then some sort of gunk. And obviously it looks like it's been cleaned. But you know, what can you do? Still just a really neat, I mean, it's from 1857. It's been through a few hands. But normally, even when these are MS, you'll notice that the breast of the Eagle almost always will have some number of dull feathers in the chest. And then also, you'll have these feathers won't be well defined, and the tip of the wing won't be well defined, or it won't be there at all. So you'll see quite a few of those that are just really bad strikes. And it wasn't the coin's fault, it was the government's fault. They recommended they use bronze, and they came back and said, you know what, we're going to do this weird alloy of copper nickel. And it went terribly. After they did a couple years of the Indians sent pieces in the same alloy, they came back and said, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. Let's try using bronze. And they just, you know, did what they should have done in the first place. Interesting thing though, these coins are almost twice as thick as a normal cent. The modern cent size is much thinner than the copper nickel ones were. So they're huge pennies. And sometimes you'll hear these called white cents. Obviously the color is very light compared to an actual copper coin. You can see the difference here. Obviously the coloring, they're much more pale, and that's because they're copper nickel. So it makes them look almost like a rosy color. When they're pristine MS condition, I mean, they're a beautiful coin. This is one of my favorite coins. I'd love to get a 56 because they only made about 1,000, but unless you have about $6,000, you're not going to end up with one of those. But yeah, feel free, any offers you want to make, sales@jpcoins.com. Otherwise, check out our website, our Facebook, or drop us a line. If you want a video made, you know, drop us a suggestion and we'll get one made up for you. Thanks a bunch, guys. Bye.